Okay, so I recorded this earlier, but the audio was not good. So I'm just gonna play the video and record the audio right now. This is the funboxrookie box from Proving Grounds, originally on vulnhub. Start playing here. I'll pause it if necessary. We're gonna start with nmap as usual. We'll let the video catch up here. There we go. Finally. And you see it's unknown.local because it was really funny. That box, I wasn't entirely sure if this was the right box because it didn't give me an IP address, and so I sort of blindly searched on the subnet I thought it would be. Turns out it was the right one. I was also very tired yesterday, and I kind of quit like probably before halfway through. So anyways, while this is paused, you see the FTP already listed for us a lot of zip files. We're going to get those, and then we're going to run zip to John, and then use John to unlock it. Only 2 of them are going to work. What we're going to do is spend just a couple seconds seeing if we immediately get them. Right there I'm highlighting just some red herrings that robots.txt demonstrates logs, but nothing's at logs. Heading back to those zips, we're just going to spend a couple seconds, and we'll see that immediately both Catherine and Tom give us the password. Catherine does not have a login shell, so we can't pivot to that user over on the box. Tom does. One other thing too is that we can see that these zips contain ID RSAs. So whereas initially I'd started trying to brute force SSH to these users, then while halfway through I started doing the zip to John, and I realized that this is just going to give me SSH access. So I just stopped that and concentrated on this. So you see here I got the ID RSAs. This Catherine's doesn't work to log us in, but Tom's does. So search through the history, see if there's something I want, and there isn't, at least right from there. So I look for Tom, and it's not there either, so I just type it in. And it's just about there in the history. RSA Tom, and then Tom at unc.local. And we're in, just like that. So the privilege escalation starts sudo l, doesn't give us anything because we don't have the password. We just look for anything in the home directory. You see I'd already uploaded some stuff from my run there. Nothing too much. See we have rbash. I ended up using rbash, and actually this I forgot this is a special treat. The prescribe method, which I'm about to show here, is you're supposed to just look in MySQL history and find that there's a password right down here. And that'll immediately get you to root because you got his password, and you see that you can execute all commands as sudo. So you just do sudo su, and then you got your then you have anything. But that's not what I did. I wasn't that smart. I didn't realize this. So I did privilege escalation another way, which worked. It was very interesting. But we'll let past me finish. See all. Sudo su password. And there we are. Like I said, that's not the way that I did it. Exited out of there. I forget if I demonstrated the actual rooting, but you notice, and this is me demonstrating rbash, if you do ID, then you see that Tom is part of group LXD. And to pivot back, I'm going to show the rbash escape. It's very simple, as long as you can use V. And that's another distinction between the last time that I had to do this. Before, I didn't have any of my commands available. I didn't have cat, anything. Definitely not V. But whereas last time I had a little hack using aliases, with this I could just execute Vim, and then here you set the shell, and then execute the shell from Vim, and it drops you into just a regular bash. And you see, boom, I can CD. So that breaks me out of that. Not a big deal. So then you see how I had that tar.gz there. And here I'm demonstrating that I ran the privilege escalation script. And it highlighted for me that I was part of group LXD, which is like Linux containers. And over there is my LXD privilege escalation, which I ran through, and it worked. What it demonstrated is that it's dangerous for a user to be part of the LXD group. So that's something I learned because I wasn't smart enough to use the MySQL history. So I got a little extra out of this box. But you just run that, you download the Alpine container, and then it turns into a tar.gz. You wget it over to the remote box. You run through those things, and then you just mount root, and then cd into root, and you can read the proof.txt. And that was the shell where I did all that. So that was all this. Right here, you see that was close to the top of there where I started doing this. ls image import, no file or directory. That was just I had the wrong file name. So I did that. It imported it, listed it just to make sure it's there. Init create ignite, but no storage pool found. And I was like, huh, interesting. So I Googled that and found I just needed to basically initialize the whole LXD system. So that's what all these questions were. Nothing too dangerous. So then finally when I initialized the image, created it, we're good. The next step, add my device added, start it, execute bin shell using ignite, and that gets me with a root shell inside of the container. And I was like, wait, what's the next step? I was like, okay. And then I realized that I had to mount the file system into my root. And that's one thing to note, is that's why it's dangerous, is because you're basically mounting this container on top of the file system as sort of a supervisor over it. So mount root is this slash of the file system, and so I can go into root, and then there it is. So that was just a really fun little time. Like I said, it was a little special treat, a little twofer. And I really enjoyed that one.